Greetings, Planeswalkers. It's Chris, aka NAS, with Commander the Gathering. Today is Friday Night Magic, and Tommy Bear, Old Bearby, this one's for you two. Albeit a bit more towards Old Bearby as this is his number, but Tommy Bear, you are next. And during the next selection, I'll switch with who I go with first. But before I continue prattling on any longer, I hope all is well with you and that you are taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. And with that all out of the way, let's do some reflecting on where we are. This is deck number 11, and so far we have done deck number 1, which was Unesh, deck number 40, Kamahl, 57, Edgar Markov, 62, Firesong and Sunspeaker, 59, Morophon, and number 3, Mizzix. Since we've started, we've been to the blind eternities with Morophon and his Eldrazi. From there, we headed to the city plane of Ravnica, an endless city exploring the Izzet Guild with Mizzix. And we planeswalked to where it all began when we visited Firesong and Sunspeaker in the Hurloon Mountains in Dominaria. From the light of fire and sun, we ventured into Innistrad, a darker plane where we met Lord Edgar Markov, Patriarch and Blood Chief, and the rest of his ensemble. Then off to the still peaceful forests of Dominaria once more in Krosa, where we met Kamahl. We picked up next in sunny and sandy Amonkhet, where the sun is blotted out by Unesh and his sphinxes. But today we're off to Ixalan mainly, and off to the high seas. We meet Admiral Beckett Brass, and explore the more jovial and mischievous side of the Grixis side of the house, which happens to be my favorite color combo of all. Admiral Beckett Brass is a 3/3 human pirate. She costs 1 generic, a blue, a black, and a red for a total mana cost of 4. When she's on the battlefield, all other pirates you control get +1/+1, and at the beginning of your end step, gain control of target non-land permanent controlled by a player who was dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. So, with that said, this is a pirate-themed tribal deck with some jank thrown in, as it should be with a bunch of dastardly swindlers as they drink and sail and brawl their way across the plane. So beyond a simple pirate theme, you're going to see a couple more, but I'm going to touch on them as we get further on into the deck. And now that we're all set, I think we're ready to hop into the deck, and per usual, let's start with land. While this land base is nothing exceptional in terms of function, not at the time anyway, there are a few lands highlighted that kind of just between the art and the feel of them show a pirate life, and I tend to go through and find more visual ones to add to this. And eventually, as I collect more cards, get a bit more powerhouse cards, ones that come in untapped and the such, but now's not that time. Next, on to artifacts. The first we have is the Fell Flagship, full of flavor, fun, and function. Yummy. Moving on to mana rocks, we start with Soul Ring, and then a trio of 2 mana value rocks in Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Creativity, and an Arcane Signet, followed by a pair of 2 Clue Stones. I like these. They're 3-drop, but they can be used to draw cards later. The only equipment here is one that leads to more pirating, the Heirloom Blade. It's nice because if the creature it is attached to dies, you basically go flip cards until you hit another pirate and bring it to the battlefield. Then some graveyard hate by way of Nile Spellbomb and Crook of Condemnation. Glaring Spotlight is here for removing hexproof, but also it has its unblock ability, so I can hit home for sure and steal what I want when I want. I do need a little bit more evasion in this deck. Conjurer's Closet, more on this later, talking about themes. And then the same with Sundial of the Infinite. In the commercial, this was the alluded to and coveted Pirate's Prize, but more on that later. A bit light on the enchantment department, we have Shared Animosity and Aqueous Form, talking about that evasion for this one. In the interest of association, while we have enchantments fresh in our mind, let's go on to creatures that are not pirates, starting with an enchantment creature. The archetype of finality, which adds death touch, making people suffer the consequences of blocking my pirates. And it's also on theme with Vraska and Ixalan, if you know anything about the story there. And then the Tribute Mage, which can be used to grab the Pirate's Prize or Sundial of the Infinite. Just another way to get it out a little quicker. Moving on now, we have the Instants in the deck, starting with Turn and Burn, a fun removal and control spell, or it can be used separately. Desertion, one of the counter spells in here. I couldn't help it, and what are you going to do about it? Shatter is just a simple include, and the flavor is wonderful, as is Vraska's Contempt. Then we have two more counter spells that again are here for flavor, and how could you not? We have Hornswoggle, which I love because, as mentioned, pirates hate vampires on Ixalan. The theme is nice. And then we have Admiral's Orders. Look at Beckett Brass. Sorceries now, this is where you'll find a lot of theme and flavor and function in this deck. There is some pirate flavor here also. And now let's start with Impale, again, for that vampire hate. And then Mutiny, Trash for Treasure, something that can help me recur the Pirate's Prize. Sundial of the Infinite, just in case it gets lost accidentally, or just in case someone purposefully accidentally lost it into their own possession and tried to make off with it, and it ended up in my graveyard. I can grab it back out. Pirate's Prize and Brass's Bounty give up that booty in the form of treasure. And Angrath's Fury helps release some steam. And if you need to, go ahead and phone a friend. The next three are about grabbing that prize, the Sundial, starting with Mastermind's Acquisition, which again can be used to find another answer for something else if needed. Then I have Fabricate, just in case, again, if I can't find that prize, I'm going to make it. And then Grim Tutor, in case things are just that much more dire. A very big theme here on our ship is taking your stuff and then keeping it. So we have a lot of spells that traditionally borrow, but with Sundial of the Infinite and Conjurer's Closet, we've been given a chance to do something exceptionally great here, people. We get to borrow but then steal your stuff. The way this interaction works is, when I borrow your stuff, meaning taking it, untapping it until the quote, end of turn, unquote, we don't like that last part. So what we're going to do is remove it. First, Sundial lets you simply end your turn, bypassing the part when you would normally trigger the actions where you need to clean up and get rid of things at the quote, end of your turn. Additionally, Conjurer's Closet's verbiage reads as follows at the end. It blinks back, quote, under your control, period, end quote. So what that means is this supersedes the part of many cards where you would return it to its owner's possession at the end of the turn. And that means that you now control it. Thanks, chum. Starting with mana value, let's get into it. Here we have Act of Aggression, which is one of the instant speed ones. And I can actually pay 3 generic and 4 life to cast this. Word of Seizing is another instant speed one, and it has split second. So if you have counterspell or some action or response, we're going to skip that now. Hijack the Sorcery is nice because it can grab artifacts like Mirage Mirror, Mana Dorks, or artifact creatures. And if I do happen to steal something like Mirage Mirror and I turn it into a creature and I blink it, I remain in control of it until the end of the game or until something negates that. Act of Treason, another sorcery. And then another instant in blue, Domineering Will. This can also be used to steal blockers, or as a person who enjoys politicking, I can provide you blockers from someone else. Another red sorcery, Traitorous Instinct, is slightly unique because it buffs as you take that creature. Ray of Command is another instant blue version. Lose Calm, a red sorcery. And then Song Mad Treachery, which can also be dropped as a land and is in the form of Song Mad Ruins. Slave of Bolas is nice, but a bit more expensive and mana intensive. However, it allows me to end my turn if I want and bypass the sacrifice, or if I just want to let that part trigger, I can go ahead and do that if I think that the better outcome is sacrificing that creature. Mass Mutiny and Mob Rule are hard hitters and engage multiple players and creatures, but at sorcery speed. Now on to the pirates, and I want to include the races here because I love camaraderie over all other stuffs. As a Marine, I just miss that. So, starting by mana value, we have the human Deadeye Tracker. He happens to explore. The Siren Storm Tamer. Karizev, a human, and this was a very fun find because she's a pirate from a non-traditional pirate setting, but the thing that really sealed the deal was the fact that her monkey can remain in play after if I utilize Sundial of the Infinite. Fathom Fleet Captain, who can produce me more pirates. Yar! Time Stream Navigator, because if I don't really have enough time to win, I'll just steal that time. And I'll steal the city's blessing too, if I need to. I don't really care. She's also a human, by the way. Then onto our first orc, my favorite race ever. Dire Fleet Captain, who gets madder when more and more pirates try to take her booty. Another pair of humans in Dire Fleet Daredevil and Captain Lannery Storm. And then Hullbreacher, a merfolk pirate. And man, this card can just ruin people's days. I love it. Two humans again with Coastline Marauder and Forerunner of the Coalition. Both do a lot for a little. Adding Encore. Keep in mind that Encore with Sundial of the Infinite, I can keep those copies because I'm not going to let it progress to the end of my turn. Protean Raider, so much fun. You can come in as a pirate or a copy of your commander, perhaps. Breaches, a goblin pirate who lets me pillage your library. The next three are humans again, and we have the Crafty Cutpurse, who's similar to Hullbreacher, can just ruin someone's day depending on the deck, and now with Flash! Captivating Crew, just in case I can't cast a spell for some reason, or I just want to steal more of your stuff and I'm not having enough cards in hand at the time. Pitiless Plunderer, when life hands you lemons, make a bunch of treasures. Another orc with Encore and some Sundial of the Infinite bait. We have the Fathom Fleet Swordjack. Rashadan Brigand, another human, but this one is a flyer and an oldie. Coercive Recruit, another orc, and another way for me to steal your stuff. Then two Planeswalking Captains, Vraska and Angrath. Angrath is amazing. He's one of my favorite characters. He's such an angry but happy dad. Man, I can't wait to hear more from him. Well, mateys, that's about it. But before we shove off, get underway, and tear through the seas, I hope you're doing well, and that you are taking everything. Oh no, I'm sorry. That pirate part. That you're taking care of yourself and everyone you love. We'll see you on the next adventure, and old Bearby, don't forget to give me that next number. Take care.